Now we're going to look at a slightly harder fractions question from an exam. So it's a little bit longer, with a bit more writing, and you need to spend a little bit more time thinking about it at the start. So we've got 120 men and 80 women being asked if they drive to work. A quarter of the total people said yes, and a third of the men said yes. So what fraction of the women said yes? So firstly, we can work out these two fractions. So a quarter of the people. Well, in total, 120 and 80, we've got 200 people in total. And a quarter of those people said yes. So a quarter of 200 is going to be 50. So for a quarter, you can just divide 200 by 4. And a third of the men said yes. So the men, we've got 120 men. So to get a third, we can divide by 3. So 120 divided by 3 gives us 40. So that means we've got 50 people in total saying yes and 40 men saying yes. So if you do 50 take away 40, that tells you that the 10 left over is going to be the 10 women who have said yes. So now we just need to write these 10 women as a fraction of the total number of women. So we've got 10 saying yes out of the total number of women, which is 80. So 10 out of the 80 women said yes, so this is our fraction. And the very last step is just to simplify this. So the easiest division to do is divide those both by 10. So you get 1/8, and that's the simplest form. So the final answer, the fraction of the women that said yes is 1/8. Here's another question involving some fractions from an exam. This is, again, a slightly harder one, a slightly higher level question. And they're saying that Nikki has organised a wedding and the guests have to choose between pasta, chicken or beef. And you're told that a third of the guests choose pasta, 5/12 choose chicken and 24 choose beef. How many were at the wedding? So, firstly, we really want to find out what this 24 is as a fraction of the number of guests. So really, if we add these two, a third and 5/12, that will tell us the total fraction that chose both pasta and chicken. And then we can use that to find the remainder and find the fraction that chose beef. So to add these two, we need to find a common denominator, which is going to be 12. Luckily, one of them has already got 12 as its denominator, so we can leave that how it is. And we just need to change the first fraction. So there are 4 3s in 12, so you're going to get 4/12 as your first fraction. If you add those together, 4/12 plus 5/12 is 9/12. And you can simplify that to being 3/4. So 3/4 chose pasta and chicken. So that means that the number that chose beef, so this 24, that must be equal to 1 take away 3/4. So 1/4 of all the guests chose beef. And this 1/4 is equal to 24. So now we can use this to work out the total number of guests at the wedding. So if a quarter of the guests was 24, to get the total, to get the whole, we just need to times this 24 by 4. 84 times 4 is going to give us 96. So that's 96 guests at the wedding. Let's look at one last exam question before we move on to the next section. This question says, Carol drinks 3/8 of a litre of milk each breakfast. And it tells you the price of the different cartons of milk. What is the smallest amount that Carol would have to spend to buy milk for 1 week? So 1 week, 7 days. So that's 7 breakfasts, and she's drinking 3/8 of a litre each breakfast. So in a whole week, she's doing 3/8 times 7. That will tell us the total amount of milk she's drinking each week in terms of litres. So when you're multiplying a fraction by a whole number, you just multiply the numerator. So 3 times 7 is 21. And you leave the denominator as it is. So we've got 21 over 8. If we write that as a mixed number, there are 2 8s in 21, which takes us up to 16, and then there's a remainder of 5, so it's 2 5/8. So Carol drinks 2 litres of milk each week, and then an extra 5/8 of a litre as well. So for her to have enough milk for the whole week, she needs to buy at least 3 litres. And the cheapest way to buy 3 litres is going to be buying one 2-litre can, or carton, sorry, and one 1-litre carton. So we're going to have one of each, so we've got 89p plus 49p. So 89 plus 49 is going to be 138 pence. If we convert that into pounds, that is £1.38.